to become a stand-in for revenge. This is no tale of reincarnation. The female protagonist, Maya, is fiercely rational, enduring 3 long years to meticulously plot vengeance for her deceased boyfriend. My elder sister, Claire Nguyen, was once the white moonlight of my husband, Ethan Yu. She returned to the country with one goal: to catch my husband red-handed, having an affair with his mistress in a hotel room. After calling the police, they informed her that only I, as Ethan's legal wife, had the right to demand entry. When I received her call, I was utterly bewildered. She wanted me to help her catch her own husband in the act. I wasn't as free as she was. On the other end of the line, my sister shrieked in panic, "That's your husband, you have asterisk to come?" The commotion was too much, so I just hung up. How ridiculous. My own husband, and I couldn't care less. Why was she so worried? For 3 years now, I have been married to Ethan Yu. He lives a notoriously unrestrained life, constantly involved in scandals that are splashed across newspaper headlines. Eventually, he reaps the consequences. The woman he always yearned for, his white moonlight, is none other than my own sister, Claire Nguyen, who he provoked to the point of returning home. The first thing Claire did after stepping off the plane was head straight to the hotel to catch Ethan Yu in the act. She cornered Ethan Yu with a brand new model in the room, and the situation was incredibly tense. The hotel manager, not daring to offend the eldest daughter of the Nguyen family, politely tried to mediate. But the Yu family is also one of the 4 great aristocratic families. Out of respect for the Yu family, the manager didn't dare hand over the key to my sister. Claire Nguyen was so furious that she called the police to break down the door and apprehend them. After understanding the situation, the police frankly stated that in such cases of infidelity, only the official wife has the right to resolve the matter. Claire Nguyen, at her wits' end, had no choice but to call me for help. At that moment, I was in the Nguyen family's study. The call was exposed, and everyone in the room eagerly anticipated the drama. I abruptly hung up, lightly tapping the pen in my hand on the table. I grew a little impatient. What stage are we at? Don't waste time. Unfortunately, the meeting was still interrupted. She called my other number to reach me. That model, immediately blackball her for me. Maya Nguyen, can you have some self-respect? How many times has Ethan done this? And every time you enable him. Now look what's happened, those vixen have climbed all over you. Hasn't it always been you, sister, who sits atop me? I said only one sentence, and Claire Nguyen immediately fell silent. However, she instantly retorted, "If you can't keep this position as Madam Yu, then give it back to me." I wasn't sure if it referred to Ethan Yu or the position of Madam Yu. Unfortunately, both were currently useful to me. I had no intention of backing down. Outside the hotel, reporters with all sorts of cameras, big and small, jostled for space. They swarmed towards me like flies to garbage. "Miss Nguyen, may I ask if you deliberately came here after hearing Mr. Yu was dating a young model in the hotel? Mr. Yu frequently meets women in hotels. As his wife, do you truly not care? Miss Nguyen, according to a reliable source, your sister was once Mr. Yu's first love. Do you feel uncomfortable about this?" My assistant quickly shielded me from the horde of reporters, clearing a path. Only when I stood before the door of the presidential suite could I finally breathe a sigh of relief. These reporters only knew how to stand outside and ask meaningless questions. If they had the guts, they should come in and take pictures. To catch a criminal, you need direct evidence. To catch an affair, you need proof. Without anything to prove it, the incident means nothing but a waste of their salary. Hearing my voice, Claire Nguyen immediately turned around. "Maya, you're finally here. Quickly, tell the police to break down the door. If Ethan Yu doesn't give me a satisfactory explanation today, I will absolutely not let him off the hook. May I ask which of you is the wife of Mr. Ethan Yu?" I looked at Claire Nguyen's cold face and the resentful endurance in her eyes. I stepped forward, taking the police officer's hand. "Excuse me, officer, my sister has misunderstood. My husband is currently attending a party on a yacht. The person in this room is not him." "That's impossible." Claire Nguyen's voice was a little too loud. She stammered, slightly flustered, then continued, "If he's at a party, why isn't he answering my calls? Of course, it's because you've mistaken him for someone else, you fool." I ignored her and first escorted the police away. Once we were alone in the hallway, I held up my phone screen in front of her. In the video, Ethan Yu was drinking and chatting with a few prominent young masters. "Have you seen clearly, sister? If Ethan Yu were truly inside, would he have the patience to let you cause such a ruckus outside for so long? Wouldn't he have come out, opened the door, and sweet-talked you ages ago? this jealous nature of yours. My words stunned Claire Nguyen, but her expression immediately shifted, a smile blooming on her face as she said, "Oh, Ethan, he's such a joker. But why wouldn't he answer his phone and cause such unnecessary misunderstanding?" As she spoke, her cheeks flushed slightly. "Give me the address, Maya, I'll go find him right away." I put my phone back in my pocket and stepped into the elevator first. "No need, he's already downstairs." Hearing that Ethan Yu was downstairs, Claire Nguyen rushed to follow me a few steps. As she entered the elevator, she even pulled out her lipstick to reapply it. I wanted to remind her that the man she was about to throw herself into the arms of was my husband, but it was useless. From childhood, she had always loved taking my things. In her eyes, everything of mine belonged to her. If she managed to snatch it, she would brag in front of me. If not, she would ask our parents to help her demand justice. For over 20 years of my life, the only time I lived comfortably was during the years she was abroad. The elevator door hadn't even opened, and Claire Nguyen was already eager to assert her ownership over me. "Maya, you must know why Ethan married you back then, right? Don't think that just because people call you Madam Yu that you truly possess him. The one he loves most has always been me. Now that I've returned, you should be sensible and give up this position." I remained silent. Both of us knew Ethan Yu had never loved me. The one he loved had always been Claire Nguyen. But so what? I didn't love him either. And I had never allowed anyone to call me Madam Yu. 3 years ago, it should have been Claire Nguyen who married Ethan Yu, but she abruptly called off the engagement and went abroad. The Yu and Nguyen families had been preparing for this wedding for a long time. Invitations had all been sent out. Public opinion was eagerly awaiting a wedding of the century between two wealthy families. At that time, my parents didn't know how to explain things to the Yu family. Under duress, I was pushed forward as a replacement. The Yu family also didn't want to lose face in front of the public, so they reluctantly accepted. From childhood, I had never received my parents' love. I had absolutely no right to say no. Ethan Yu, however, was completely different. He was the eldest grandson of the Yu family, cherished by everyone. If he said he didn't want to, no one could force him. Yet he didn't oppose this illogical decision. The night before the wedding, he came staggering into my house, completely drunk, pointed his finger directly at my face, and said, "As long as the Nguyen family dares to bring me through their door, I swear I will make you walk in on 2 feet and leave in a coffin." Who wouldn't be terrified of a drunken man losing self-control? I begged my parents not to force me to marry him. But they first agreed with Ethan Yu, then handed him hangover medicine while sternly warning me, "We've raised you this long, now it's time for you to repay the family. Unless you die, you must marry him." In truth, even if my parents hadn't said it, I had already considered death because the person I loved, Ken too, was no longer in this world. But I couldn't bear to die without doing anything. I still hadn't uncovered the truth behind Ken too's death. If I died, there would be no one left to seek justice for him. My mind was a mess. I had no strength left to argue with my parents, letting them dress me up. After sobering up, Ethan Yu looked at me intently for a moment, then left. And our wedding proceeded as planned. On our wedding night, I heard him shout loudly at the person on the other end of the phone, "She knows I want to marry her sister, yet she refuses to show up." I overestimated their sisterly bond. It was then that I realized Ethan Yu was also just a childish fool, wanting to use me to provoke Claire Nguyen, but she hadn't let him achieve his goal. From the day I stepped into the Yu family, I always longed for the day I'd be free from my marriage to Ethan Yu. As a wife neither respected by my maternal family nor loved by my husband's family, I had virtually no standing to negotiate with Ethan Yu. The only outcome could be being cast out of the family. Whenever Ethan Yu was embroiled in scandal, my parents would remind me to find every way to keep him, to absolutely not lose my position as Madam Yu. Otherwise, I would lose face, and the Nguyen family's reputation would also be affected. I wish they would be affected. That way, Claire Nguyen would lose the support of the Nguyen family and would no longer be able to act arrogantly in front of me. But to my surprise, I discovered that before his death, Ken too had met Claire Nguyen. Meanwhile, I distinctly remembered her claiming to me that she didn't know Ken too at all. I began to follow the clues and found out that my parents, along with Ethan Yu's mother, Madam Yu, the chairwoman of the Yu group, were also involved. Shocked but determined, I tried to stay calm and reflect on my marriage with Ethan Yu. After careful consideration, besides passively accepting it, what could I gain from this marriage? At the very least, if I wanted to thoroughly investigate the cause of Ken too's death, I had to firmly hold my position as Ethan Yu's wife. Therefore, whenever Ethan Yu caused trouble, the Yu family would pressure me, hoping I could help Ethan Yu save face. I gradually learned how to bargain with them. Cooperating with Ethan Yu to put on a show became more and more natural. In front of everyone, we were a happy couple. Behind closed doors, we minded our own business, not interfering in each other's private lives. Of course, compared to men, I cared more about the power they wielded. Only when I could climb higher and gain more power could I truly unveil that curtain of secrets. As time passed, I even hoped Ethan Yu would cause more trouble, so I could gain more benefits. The elevator descended straight to the underground parking lot. As the doors opened, 4 pairs of eyes met. Ethan? Claire Nguyen couldn't hold back. She had imagined Ethan Yu would embrace her tightly, just like at Paris Fashion Week, and give her a passionate kiss. But in reality, Ethan Yu skillfully avoided her, wrapping his arm around me as we exited the elevator. Outside, reporters had already caught wind of the news and rushed forward. Security personnel worked hard to safely usher the 3 of us into a car. While Ethan Yu protectively shielded me, Claire Nguyen was pushed by someone wielding a long microphone. Her meticulously applied eyeliner was smudged, and her perfectly curled false eyelashes were askew. She was about to erupt in anger, but Ethan Yu stopped her with a look. "Get in the car first. Let's get out of here." The back seat was a bit cramped. I felt incredibly awkward squeezed between them. "Perhaps I should sit in the front?" As soon as I spoke, Ethan Yu opened the car door and stepped out. I thought he would get into the passenger seat, but instead, he walked around the car towards Claire Nguyen. Under his authoritative gaze, Claire Nguyen reluctantly sat in the front seat. The driver pressed the accelerator, and the car sped out of the parking lot. "Take me to the company." I truly felt uncomfortable sitting near Ethan Yu, especially with Claire Nguyen's resentful glare still fixed on the rearview mirror. "I have work all day. I don't want to waste time arguing with her needlessly. I'll go with you." It was truly surprising that Ethan Yu, who was usually too lazy even to attend board meetings, wanted to go to work with me. But perhaps it was understandable. With Claire Nguyen causing such a commotion today, even if just to stabilize the company's stock price, Ethan Yu had to play the role of a passionately loving couple with me. He brazenly instructed the driver to head straight to the Yu Group building. "My office is at the Nguyen family's company, Mr. Yu. Do you need to be so excessive?" He pulled me out of the car, and facing the waiting reporters at the foot of the Yu Group building, I had to force a polite smile as he draped his arm over my shoulder. "Madam Yu will be working here today. Please inform everyone." Ethan Yu simply smiled faintly and then arbitrarily gave orders to my assistant. Afterwards, he asked the driver to take Claire Nguyen back to the Nguyen family home. Finally, once we entered his office, I immediately pulled away from his arm. Ethan Yu no longer had the gentle demeanor he displayed earlier. He loosened his tie, his voice cold. "Who tipped her off? Maya Nguyen, don't tell me you don't know." I sat indifferently on the sofa, extending my hand. "Are you suspecting me? What benefit does Claire Nguyen making such a scene ultimately bring to the Nguyen family? Ethan Yu, if I intended to make you lose face, I wouldn't have shown up here today." Ethan Yu was momentarily speechless. He remained silent for a while, then suddenly remembered and was about to ask me about the situation at the hotel when his phone rang abruptly. I didn't even need to guess. I knew it was Claire Nguyen calling. Ethan Yu went into the adjoining room to answer the phone. When he returned, his face was extremely grim. "I have an urgent matter I need to deal with," he said, quickly preparing to leave. I immediately stood up and blocked his path. Why the rush? Ultimately, which is more important, Yu Group stock or Claire Nguyen? "Ethan Yu, don't expect me to cover for you a second time." I'm not sure which of my words struck a nerve, but Ethan Yu suddenly lost his composure, grabbing my neck tightly and pushing me against the wall. My back ached terribly, but I maintained my composure, meeting his utterly cold gaze. "Maya Nguyen, don't say such high-minded words. No one understands what you truly want better than I do." I smiled faintly. "If you still remember that what's between us is just a transaction, then show some sincerity in cooperating. Don't constantly create trouble that puts me in an awkward position." In truth, what I desired was very simple. Ethan Yu just had no idea. He always thought I wanted to cooperate with the Yu family because I loved him and was loyal to the Nguyen family. How ridiculous. Who cared about them? I blocked the door, but Ethan Yu was determined to leave. Whatever I said, he ignored. Not long after he left, Claire Nguyen sent me a close-up photo of the 2 of them, accompanied by the caption, "Ethan has explained everything to me clearly. It was just an act for the reporters. Don't take it to heart. I quickly sent her back a photo of the red marks on my neck caused by him, with the caption, "I don't want to take it to heart either, but he's too strong." I couldn't resist. After sending it, I immediately put my phone on silent, ignoring the flurry of angry messages from Claire Nguyen. Did she think I was an idiot? She didn't even bother to edit out the wound on Ethan Yu's forehead in the picture, as if afraid people wouldn't know Ethan Yu had fought abroad for her. That happened last year, and Claire still sent me old photos. It seemed she was pushed to her breaking point, so my plan also needed to accelerate. Instead of going to my company, immediately after leaving the Yu group, I went to a private club. There, I met Victor Yu, Ethan Yu's second uncle. Next to him was a young model, the very one Claire had wanted to catch red-handed today. Despite my presence, the two of them were still openly affectionate. Indeed, all the men of the Yu family were equally philandering. "Second uncle, how do you intend to repay your niece?" I got straight to the point. Victor Yu didn't beat around the bush either. "As long as you help me today, anything I can give you, just name it." I smiled faintly, handing him a stack of documents. "The riverside land plot in the city. I've had my eye on it for a long time. If this succeeds, I'll thank you." Victor Yu took the documents and read them, his smile gradually fading. "I remember the Yu group is also eyeing this land." He quickly returned the documents to me. No, choose something else. How can I help an outsider?" I held onto the documents tightly, looking directly at the model next to him. Victor Yu immediately understood my meaning. He lightly patted the model's thigh, and she, understanding, stood up and said she wanted to reapply her makeup. Once the door closed, I took out another contract. "Second uncle, sign here. From now on, your hand will only help family." It was a capital contribution agreement for a new company. I believed Victor Yu wouldn't refuse because he was just like me. In the eyes of the Yu family, we were both outsiders. I was a daughter-in-law, and he was the illegitimate son of Ethan Yu's grandfather. Because his grandfather feared his wife, Victor wasn't acknowledged until his grandmother passed away. No one in the Yu family truly respected him. His success within the Yu family was unthinkable. If his grandfather hadn't left him 10% of the shares before his death, he probably would have been kicked out of the house long ago. But Victor Yu wasn't entirely useless. He liked women and knew how to seize every opportunity. Over the years, he had leveraged the influence of the Yu family to bribe quite a few powerful individuals. Places where it was inconvenient for me to appear became places where he could display his power. I was determined to acquire this piece of land. Staging Claire Nguyen's jealous misunderstanding was merely a pretext for me to approach Victor Yu. After reaching an agreement with Victor Yu, my heart was filled with satisfaction. Just then, a scion of the elite hosted a birthday party. Friends invited me to attend. As soon as I stepped in, I was pulled into a game of beer pong by a group of people, so engrossed that I didn't notice Ethan Yu's presence in a secluded corner. It wasn't until Claire Nguyen angrily sought him out that everyone awkwardly became aware of the situation. "Is that the sister-in-law? Doesn't look much like her, does she?" A drunk person, mistaking Claire Nguyen for me, blurted out. "Sister-in-law, why do you look a few years older? Could it be that Mr. Ethan prefers mature women these days?" Claire Nguyen absolutely detested being compared to me. She immediately grabbed a wine glass from the table and threw it straight at the person. Unfortunately, she hit the birthday boy himself, Mr. Zhao. All these young masters were born and raised in powerful families who wouldn't value their honor. Moreover, in recent years, the development of Mr. Zhao's family business had surpassed the Nguyen families significantly. Mr. Zhao wouldn't easily let it go. Feigning drunkenness, he forced Claire Nguyen to apologize and drink 2 entire bottles of wine from the table before he'd let her off. Claire Nguyen refused, looking at Ethan Yu with fury and resentment. "Are you just going to stand there and watch me get bullied? If I had known you'd treat me like this, I never would have come back to the country." As she spoke, her eyes reddened, and her luscious red lips were bitten until they turned pale. Finally, Ethan Yu could no longer ignore her. He stood up, embraced Claire Nguyen, picked up a bottle of wine from the table, and drank it in her stead. A group of people rushed forward to intervene. "Mr. Ethan, you don't have to do this. Ethan is just a young, inexperienced kid. Why bother with him?" The lights were switched on. Claire Nguyen, nestled in Ethan Yu's arms, cast a provocative glance in my direction. Then she helped Ethan Yu, who was half-conscious, half-drunk, out of the private room. At that moment, the remaining people stared at me blankly. They wanted to say something but couldn't find the right words. I shrugged indifferently, gesturing for everyone to continue the party. I then grabbed a bottle of wine for myself and found a secluded corner to sit in. In my heart, I thought, if Kent were still alive, he surely wouldn't let me suffer this pain. If he hadn't died, perhaps 3 years ago I wouldn't have married Ethan Yu. This was the first time I wanted to get absolutely drunk. I hoped that in my inebriated state, I would no longer feel such agony. In a daze, I seemed to feel someone embracing me. I vaguely recognized that high nose bridge and those deep, profound eyes. By natural reflex, I blurted out, "Ken too." The person paused, then scooped me up. I tried to reach out and touch his face, but he resolutely stopped me. Annoyed, I struggled to be put down. Unexpectedly, that violent action made my stomach churn uncomfortably. "I'm sorry, I'll pay for your shirt." My memory ended with the opponent's gritted, "No need." After that, I completely forgot what happened. The next morning, waking up, I stared blankly at the familiar ceiling, almost screaming, because I clearly noticed something unusual beneath the sheets. "Second miss, you're awake?" Butler Chen knocked and entered. After inquiring, I learned that Ethan Yu had indeed brought me home last night, but he hadn't stayed overnight. I asked her what time he left and why my waist was so sore. Butler Chen stammered an explanation. "Second miss, you were too drunk yesterday. When I was changing your clothes, I accidentally slipped, causing you to fall." "Ah, I see." By then, I felt much more at ease. Being so drunk, my head pounded like a hammer. I was about to tell Butler Chen not to bother me when she announced that the Yu family had called. I immediately found my phone and called Ethan Yu, but the other end was silent. It wasn't until I was in the car that he called back. But ironically, the one who picked up was Claire Nguyen. "What's the rush?" Her voice was sleepy and tired. "Ethan's still asleep. Do you need to rush like you're demanding his life?" I took a deep breath, trying to suppress my anger. "If you find it inconvenient to wake him, then when he's awake, remember to tell him I've gone to the main residence. If anyone asks, I'll frankly say he's in your bed." After saying that, I hung up and told the driver to drive faster. The Yu family had long been one of the four most powerful families in City A, with a history spanning centuries. The meeting at the main residence was extremely important. Anyone absent would be punished according to family rules. Claire Nguyen was no fool either. Ethan Yu and I arrived at the main residence almost simultaneously. I handed him the spare suit his driver had brought, thoughtfully reminding him to cover the lipstick stain on his collar. He was momentarily surprised, then his expression turned cold and inscrutable. I subtly scoffed. Affairs weren't new to him, but he shouldn't lose face in front of the elders. At this point, I believed he would understand. Recalling last night, I still felt a chill. If Claire Nguyen hadn't intervened in time, Ethan Yu might have taken advantage of me. After all, we were legally married, and he could have completely forced me. During the years Claire Nguyen was abroad, Ethan Yu had countless lovers who bore a striking resemblance to her. And the person who resembled Claire Nguyen the most in this world was me, her biological sister. Ethan Yu often warned me not to cross the line, but recently, especially in the past year, the way he looked at me had changed. If not for that, I wouldn't have needed to secretly prepare, hastily urging Claire Nguyen to return to deal with him. When Ethan Yu was properly dressed, we walked side by side. I spoke to him. "How is the chairman's health? The company usually gives notice. Why the urgent summons this time? There must be an important announcement coming." Only when we were alone did I formally address the elders of the Yu family by their titles. It was known that Ethan Yu's father had been diagnosed with liver cancer 2 years ago, and this information had been kept secret since the start of his treatment. The outside world was completely unaware, and even within the family, it was a closely guarded secret. My question was because normally, when we were called back to the old house, we would receive a day's notice, not in such a hurry as this time. Furthermore, when parking, I had noticed a car with an unfamiliar license plate. Lawyer Zhang was also present. Something important was definitely happening. Indeed, Ethan Yu's words confirmed my suspicions, and I immediately became highly focused. The room was already packed with people. The Yu clan had deep roots, and the larger the company, the more branches participated. But the power always remained with Ethan Yu's direct descendants. Chairman Yu was absent, only the chairwoman and the lawyer were there. Regarding the division of shares, in addition to the fixed portions, Chairman Yu proposed an additional round of competition. Based on the latest government tender results, whoever won the project would become the new successor of the Yu family. I glanced at Ethan Yu's expression. He didn't seem surprised at all. In contrast, his two younger brothers clearly showed displeasure. As for second Uncle Yu, he maintained an indifferent attitude, even proactively giving up in front of everyone. The eldest brother plays too many games. What's the point of creating such a convoluted procedure? In ancient times, kings chose crown princes with just one decision. Why bother everyone? Anyway, I'm just a royal uncle. The successor certainly won't be me, so I withdraw. Madame Yu, the chairwoman, merely smiled without saying a word. After the lawyer finished his work, everyone began to leave. As I prepared to leave with the others, Madame Yu called me back. I heard your sister has returned to the country. Is she causing you any difficulties? I turned to look at Ethan Yu, who showed no intention of helping and forced a smile. Not at all. She's my sister. Of course, she always wishes the best for me. Madame Yu coldly threw a stack of photos right in front of me. I lowered my head slightly. They were pictures of Ethan Yu escorting my sister out of the hotel last night. Although the angle was difficult, the images were incredibly sharp. Even if I tried to claim I was the one in the photos, no one would believe it. Have you just started experimenting and already think you're fully fledged? I truly don't understand if it's because you're used to being timid, or if the Nguyen family simply doesn't know how to raise children. She was the one who demanded to call off the engagement back then, and for years, she's caused one commotion after another. We haven't had a single day of peace because of her. Now she's just returned to the country and is already causing trouble everywhere. Maya Nguyen, if you're willing to let your own sister exploit and trample on you to climb higher, that's your business. But don't forget, you are now the Madame Yu. Her harming you is also harming the honor of the Yu family. Madame Yu couldn't bring herself to scold Ethan Yu, so she unleashed all her anger on me. I silently bent down to pick up the photos. Just then, Ethan Yu suddenly took my hand, helping me to my feet. Mother, this has nothing to do with Maya. Please don't blame her. It was truly strange. Ethan Yu was actually protecting me. Madame Yu lowered her voice and told me to wait outside. I knew my place. Whenever possible, I would absolutely not get involved in the conflict between mother and son. Outside, I met second Uncle Yu, who still hadn't left. Don't think you're not valued just because your mother-in-law scolded you. Even Ethan defended you. Your position as Madame Yu is becoming increasingly secure. Why bother secretly hiding private funds anymore? He was clearly alluding to my previous actions. I looked around, making sure no one else was present, then looked at him and replied, Second uncle, I think you understand one thing much better than I do. Money only has value when it's in your hands, just like sitting on a throne. What good is it just to admire it? You have to experience that feeling yourself. How about we cooperate on this new project, Yu family? Second Uncle Yu remained silent. Recently, the Yu group was undergoing a crisis. Factions were fiercely vying for power. Ethan Yu had also become much more withdrawn, even calling me into his office to help with work. Such an important bidding process, how could I get involved? I actively tried to avoid it, but he scoffed, accusing me of being disingenuous. The Nguyen family's business won't be able to recover under your management. You should think about the long-term future. So, will you yield the position of chairman of the Yu group to me? I blurted out teasingly. Predictably, he replied that I was too greedy. You even want to compete with your own husband for a career, Maya Nguyen. You truly don't value your status as a woman. After saying that, Ethan Yu handed me a set of jewelry, intending for me to attend a charity gala with him. He had never taken me to such events before. For some reason, I felt he was deliberately trying to close the distance between us. But I wasn't touched. On the contrary, I felt utterly disgusted. For 3 years, he had practically become a public commodity. Only Claire Nguyen still regarded him as a treasure. Oh, right, Claire Nguyen. I posted a status update on social media, visible only to her, and she immediately stormed to the Yu Group building. Claire Nguyen intercepted me in the underground parking lot, questioning me fiercely. Where's the jewelry Ethan gave you? Give it to me. I deliberately glanced towards the back seat and reluctantly replied, That's what I plan to wear to the gala. If you like it, I'll give it to you tomorrow. How could Claire Nguyen accept Ethan Yu taking me to such a public event? I was Ethan Yu's wife, true. But who in our circle didn't know this marriage was merely temporary, that he was always waiting for his white moonlight to return? Some even bet that as soon as Claire Nguyen appeared, Ethan Yu would immediately divorce me. Seeing that I wouldn't agree, Claire Nguyen played her trump card. Try to guess, if the Yu family found out about the disgusting things you did before, would they still give you a chance to stay in the Yu family? And Ethan, how would he treat you? Claire Nguyen held a USB drive in her hand, a triumphant smile on her face. In that instant, I felt my blood run cold. Reflexively, I wanted to snatch it. Didn't you say you deleted everything? How is it still around? Claire Nguyen looked very pleased to see my panic. She opened the car door and pulled a box from the back seat. From childhood to adulthood, you never knew what I hated most about you, did you? You're truly too foolish, believing everything anyone tells you. I really don't understand how our parents could have given birth to such a naive child as you. In fact, what I understood even less was that despite being sisters from the same mother, Claire Nguyen had never considered me her sister. In her eyes, I was no different from an enemy. When I was little, the doll mother gave me for my birthday was mutilated by her eyes gouged out, head broken off, then shoved into my blanket. When I was sick, she secretly put salt in my medicine. I took one sip and threw up violently, and Mother scolded me harshly. I was good at studying, so she tore up my homework and flushed it down the toilet. In the birthday cake Father bought for me, she deliberately hid shards of glass, causing me to bite into it and bleed when I ate it. Even though she treated me so cruelly, my parents never once had the heart to scold her loudly. In fact, I always overheard my parents coddling her behind my back. They said that the one they loved most was always Claire, and Maya was only born to be her playmate. Thus, in the Nguyen family, I always played the role of Claire Nguyen's doll. Only when she was happy could I live in peace. If she was even slightly unhappy, I couldn't eat or sleep soundly. In 10th grade, she became jealous because I won a piano competition, overshadowing her reputation as the eldest daughter of the Nguyen family. So, she fabricated a story about me dating a boyfriend and having an abortion. My mother was called to school by the teacher, and without a word slapped me in front of everyone. After changing schools, I met Ken too. He was like a warm ray of sunshine, warming my life during those cold winter days. Our feelings developed naturally. What was even happier than a first love was when the person you liked also only liked you. But Claire Nguyen was like a nightmare that continuously haunted me. That day, after school, she drove over 20 kilometers just to block my path. Simply because she was in a bad mood and needed someone to vent her anger on. When I returned to the apartment and found the housekeeper wasn't home, I intended to go back out. However, Claire Nguyen had calculated everything in advance. 2 tall male students, much larger than me, blocked my path in the hallway. They forcibly dragged me into the room. I shrieked desperately, hopelessly. Claire filmed for a very long time. I cried until my voice was hoarse, begging and pleading, but she showed not an ounce of pity. She even said it didn't matter if our parents found out. After all, the Nguyen family only needed her as the young mistress. No one cared whether I lived or died. That night when they left, I went to the rooftop alone. Just as I was about to jump, I heard someone call my name. It was Ken too. When I rushed downstairs, I saw him covered in blood. He said he had just been ambushed by a group of unknown thugs right outside the school gate. Worried about me, he didn't go to the hospital but came to find me immediately. I didn't dare tell him about the horrible ordeal I had just endured. If you share a sweet candy, others will also taste its sweetness. But if it's a bitter pill, the fewer people who have to endure it, the better. But Ken too was incredibly perceptive. He noticed my abnormality and felt incredibly guilty. From then on, we were almost inseparable until we graduated from college. Suddenly, one day, he passed away forever in a traffic accident. When I sorted through his belongings, I found a ring and pre-written marriage proposal lines. I felt my entire world collapse. After Ken too's funeral, every day I would stand dazed by the side of the busy road. Perhaps because I appeared there so frequently, a kind cleaning lady reminded me not to think about things too much. Kids these days are so hot-headed. Just last month, a couple argued here too. The boy was hit by a car and died. Last month was precisely when Ken too's accident occurred. I took out my phone and showed her a photo. Her eyesight was a little poor, but she recognized Ken too. That's him, all right. They argued very fiercely back then. I'm not sure if the girl pushed him, but it was really bad. I asked for more details, but she didn't want to continue. Many girls liked Ken too, but he was always polite, never raising his voice even when refusing. I relogged into all of Ken too's social media accounts, went through all his books. I diligently searched for any clue. Finally, I found a letter. I was determined to clarify everything when my parents called me home. Claire Nguyen had fled from her wedding. Before deciding to marry Ethan Yu, I had a phone conversation with Claire Nguyen. I demanded that she return the old video recording. Otherwise, I was willing to die rather than marry. Before dying, I would write a letter, exposing everything she had done to me over the years. Anyway, my parents had never loved me. The Nguyen family meant nothing to me. Think carefully, sister. Claire Nguyen deleted the video right in front of me and guaranteed there were no copies, but I didn't believe her. I was certain that when pushed to a corner, she would use that matter to threaten me again. And that was precisely what I wanted. Her ultimate trump card. Since this charity event was being live-streamed on social media, Claire Nguyen took this opportunity very seriously. She was gorgeously made up and attracted all the attention almost as soon as she appeared. In the video, she was arm in arm with Ethan Yu. He tried several times to pull his arm away to talk to others, but Claire Nguyen clung to him like a leech. He couldn't shake her off. Ethan Yu's assistant called me. "Madam, CEO Ethan Yu wants you here within half an hour." I simply replied, "The most important thing for an employee is to understand the boss's intentions. Right now, whoever is next to the CEO is the one being valued. Miscalling someone madam could get you fired without knowing why." Did they want me to participate in the charade of two sisters fighting over a husband? I wasn't interested. I was busy editing a video. Claire Nguyen used the old video to threaten me, but I also possessed material on her, even newer material. I sent the edited video abroad. Almost as soon as news of the reunion between the Yu family heir and his white moonlight hit the front page, Claire Nguyen became an overnight sensation on social media. Incest and wild parties with various ethnicities. While I was catching up on sleep to rejuvenate my skin, my parents came directly to my home. They forced me to deny it, to claim I was the one in the video. "Are you out of your minds?" I looked at them with cold eyes. "You yourselves raised a shameless daughter who did such depraved things, and now you want me to bear the blame? On what grounds?" Mother tried to raise her hand to hit me, but I firmly grabbed her wrist. "If you don't listen to me from now on, don't call me mother anymore." I pushed her to the ground, looking at her calmly. "Fine, don't call me that, it's meaningless anyway. You dare be rude to me." My father angrily stepped forward, also intending to strike me. I held my head high, unafraid. "Think carefully, how expensive will this slap cost you? Don't forget I am still Ethan Yu's wife, the Madam Yu. Your precious daughter, Miss Claire Nguyen, is nothing but a wanton woman." My father's hand froze in midair. I called my driver while looking at them and said, "From childhood to adulthood, have you ever treated me the way you treated Claire Nguyen? How she bullied me, and you all turned a blind eye. I survived by sheer luck. And how many outrageous things she did to me, you never cared. You want me to take the fall for her, not in this lifetime." Having said that, I walked straight out. My phone rang continuously. It was Madam Yu, the chairwoman. It was one thing after another. I didn't answer, simply hanging up. Madam Yu would certainly be furious, and it was probably easy to guess who would bear the brunt of that anger. When I returned to the Nguyen group, the board members were all present. Everyone looked at me with reproach. I calmly replied, "What's wrong? Do I manage the Nguyen family now? My parents couldn't even control their eldest daughter's temperament, and you all expect me to? Am I that capable?" After saying that, I flat out submitted my resignation. "I won't serve anymore. Whoever wants to stay in this dilapidated temple can stay." Immediately, the old foxes panicked. After all, I still carried the title of Madam Yu. If I were willing to seek help from the Yu family, the Nguyen group still had hope of being saved. No matter what they said, ultimately, this was the Nguyen family's conglomerate. I couldn't abandon it in its time of crisis. At the very least, I had to help the group overcome this difficult period. I then seized the opportunity to sign a betting agreement with them, pushing each person into a corner from which they couldn't retreat. If I lost, I would just be a deputy CEO of the Nguyen family, at most resigning to take responsibility. But if I won, whatever remnants were left of this crumbling Nguyen family fortune, all of it would belong to me. Previously, no matter how many scandals Ethan Yu was involved in, the media only used them to attract attention. Because after all, his temporary replacements were just supporting actors, and once the hype died down, there was no more value to exploit. But this time was different. The white moonlight, the CEO's first love, who secretly fled her wedding. This time, upon her return, she had gone through countless upheavals and heartaches. Ethan Yu was engulfed in a storm of public opinion. Ironically, I, his official wife, remained silent, saying nothing. The Yu family exhausted all their connections but still couldn't quell the public outcry. Ethan Yu had to both deal with the media to save face for the Yu group and explain himself to business partners. While he was preoccupied and stressed with these troubles, Claire Nguyen still wouldn't let things rest. Seeing that our parents couldn't force me, she personally came to find me. She wanted to use the USB drive to threaten me again. "Fine, sister, go ahead and post that video online right now. I don't care. Anyway, the Nguyen family is about to collapse. At most, we'll all go down together. Claire Nguyen was stunned. Aren't you afraid the Yu family will kick you out? I smiled. With a troublesome sister like that, she thinks the Yu family would value her. Claire Nguyen, don't you always say Ethan Yu loves you so much? Then show me how much he loves you. Provoked by me, Claire Nguyen did something foolish. She climbed onto the rooftop of the Yu Group building, insisting on meeting me and Ethan Yu. When we arrived, the area below the building was already packed with reporters, and there were even drones filming from above. However, they were quickly dispersed by Yu Group security. Claire Nguyen loudly declared that if Ethan Yu refused to divorce me and marry her, she would jump immediately. Ethan, do you want to see me die? After all these years of our feelings, are you truly so heartless? Ethan Yu's eyes revealed a coldness. His face had never been so icy. He took a step forward and said to Claire Nguyen, if the place you're standing wasn't on the Yu Group building, do you think I'd be bothered to come up here and care about you? If you want to die, go die somewhere else. Don't cause trouble for me. I had thought that even if Ethan Yu was disappointed with Claire Nguyen, he would at least care about her life. But his ruthlessness made me see him in a different light. Since you decided to break up with me, our relationship should have ended then. Claire Nguyen, Maya is my wife now. I hope you understand the truth and stop bothering our lives. As soon as he finished speaking, I don't know if he was deliberately acting or truly angry, but he suddenly opened his arms and embraced me. Claire Nguyen couldn't accept Ethan Yu's change. She screamed in despair, Ethan, 3 years ago I was forced. I never wanted to break up with you. It was because, whatever the reason, it no longer matters. Ethan Yu cut her off. Even if someone forced you to break up with me, did they force you into bed with other people? You stained yourself. Don't bring up old stories anymore. I saw Ethan Yu's tense expression, and in my heart I vaguely guessed. He probably already knew about that asterisk. Indeed, those who play power games are all ruthless. Claire Nguyen had fallen into true despair. Perhaps from the beginning, she only intended to create a scene to pressure Ethan Yu, but now there was no flicker of hope left in her eyes. Nevertheless, from what I knew about her, even in death, she wouldn't easily let me go. Claire Nguyen finally released the video. Witnessing the look of astonishment on Ethan Yu's face, she smiled contentedly. You think Maya Nguyen is so pure? She's 10 times more despicable than me. Ethan Yu, you will definitely regret this. After saying that, she intended to jump but was pulled back by the hidden rescue team. Claire Nguyen, crying and screaming, was finally brought down safely. I was a little disappointed. In my heart, I secretly wished to see my parents' expressions as they watched her fall and shatter, but I quickly called the police. I also requested my private lawyer to come to the scene. I picked up the phone Claire Nguyen had used to disseminate the video and handed it to the police, considering it evidence for the lawsuit I would file against her. Madam Yu, we will strictly safeguard this phone and invite you to cooperate with further investigations when necessary. Please rest assured, the video that was uploaded online will be removed immediately. I nodded. I wasn't worried about that at all, because I had a computer expert handle it beforehand. The video Claire Nguyen uploaded only had an upload history, but in reality, no one could view it. The evidence of her crime would be preserved, but I was determined not to let harm recur. Even the handover of the phone to the police was monitored by a lawyer, sealed and fully documented. The rooftop quickly returned to silence, and Ethan Yu had gradually regained his composure after the shock. He looked at me with a suspicious gaze. Maya Nguyen, how many more secrets are you hiding from me? I feigned innocence. What's so great about this that I should boast? I know you're not talking about the video. Ethan Yu's cold voice interrupted me. You arranged for Claire Nguyen to return to the country, deliberately leaked my whereabouts to her. You let her replace you at that gala and cause chaos everywhere. This drama today was also orchestrated by you, wasn't it? He pointed around. What exactly do you want? To retaliate against Claire Nguyen, you didn't need to involve me. Don't you care about being Madam Yu? And what about you? I stepped closer, looking him straight in the eyes. Have you ever seen me as Madam Yu? My question stunned Ethan Yu, his gaze momentarily flustered. Silence enveloped us, the atmosphere growing tense, then his voice softened. Everything is in the past. Maya, let's start over, do everything again. Silently, I walked past him and continued moving, but Ethan Yu hugged me tightly from behind. I'm not sure how far my love for you will go in the future, but at least in my eyes, no one is more deserving of the position of Madam Yu than you. Maya, please, give yourself a chance, okay? Listen to those words. Were they what a husband should say to coax his wife? If I believed that, I would be utterly foolish. I pushed him away, even straightening his collar. You're absolutely right, everything should end. When everything ends, we'll talk. The U group, the Nguyen group, everyone involved in Ken To's death I would forgive no one. Over the past 3 years, thanks to the incriminating letter Ken To left behind, I had finally uncovered the truth behind his demise. Ken To was an exceptional economics student. During his internship, he worked at a supermarket branch. Due to his outstanding capabilities, he was transferred to the head office. There, he discovered serious financial irregularities within the U group. Therefore, he secretly collected evidence and prepared to report it to his superiors. His actions were discovered by the conspirators, and someone then lured Ken To a private meeting. I knew him better than anyone. He always championed justice. He would absolutely not yield to power, nor could he be bought with money. Because he was determined to expose everything, the two families colluded and decided to eliminate him. Claire Nguyen impersonated me to trick Ken To into going to an area near the highway. After that, the tragic incident occurred. The two argued by the roadside, leading to a tragic accident caused by a truck driver who had fallen asleep at the wheel. To ensure I had full evidence and witnesses, I not only gathered proof of the Yu and Nguyen families' illegal money transfers, illicit loans, and illegal project implementations, but I also sought out the family of the imprisoned truck driver and eventually met the driver himself. I was determined to personally bring these wicked perpetrators to justice, forcing them to atone for Ken To's death. At the government project bidding session, Ethan Yu thought my elaborate attire was meant to make him look good. When the results were announced, his eyes looked at me as if he wanted to devour me whole. However, I didn't care. Because from this moment onwards, everything had begun its countdown. Even if Ethan Yu intended to retaliate against me, he would no longer have the chance. From now on, City A would no longer see the existence of the U group and the Nguyen group, but only the Tavan group. The special investigation team quickly moved in. The U group and the Nguyen group were successively sealed off, a day apart. All individuals involved in the case had their passports and identity cards confiscated and were prohibited from leaving the country. Countless accounting ledgers were sealed and taken away along with office computers. Dozens of vehicles left the U group headquarters. When Victor Yu came to find me, I was incredibly busy. The Nguyen group had too many personnel who needed to be transferred to my new company, and all had to go through a rigorous screening process. Maya Nguyen, you change your tune faster than lightning. On what grounds are you kicking me out of the company? You plotted against me from beginning to end. Victor Yu disregarded the presence of others, furious to the extreme. I bent my head, sorting documents, and casually glanced at him. Second uncle, if I were you, I wouldn't think like that. I gestured for the others to leave. The U group's assets are now sealed, so why do you still have money in your bank account to spend? Because the money I received while working for you was clean income. Victor Yu said no more and left immediately. He understood better than anyone. At present, he wasn't in a position to argue with me. The fact that I still paid him remuneration was for 2 reasons. Firstly, he had indeed helped me to some extent. Secondly, he wasn't a key figure in the U group and hadn't even had the opportunity to get involved in illicit activities. I heard on the news that Chairman Yu had passed away a week after the U group's downfall. It was truly regrettable that before his death, he wanted to meet his children and grandchildren one last time, but they couldn't all gather, because most of them were under investigation. Claire Nguyen had been admitted to a mental hospital by my parents with the aim of evading legal punishment. It didn't matter, either way she couldn't escape my revenge. My parents were also detained. When the lawyer came to see me, I clearly expressed my stance. If they were guilty, let them be punished accordingly. If they were truly innocent, they wouldn't need a lawyer. They would be fine. Although I held an important position at the Nguyen group, my accusation was entirely public and legal. Even if my parents wanted to blame me, they couldn't do anything. Economic cases are often complex and take a long time to prosecute. By the time my new project was completed, this case finally came to an end. Over 20 senior executives of the U Group received prison sentences, ranging from a few years to over 10 years. The person who received the heaviest sentence was Madame Yu, the chairwoman. In addition to economic charges, she was also accused of inciting murder. I had learned the full truth from Claire Nguyen. Everything from back then was masterminded by Madame Yu. Claire Nguyen originally didn't want to participate because Madame Yu didn't let Ethan Yu know about it. She feared that if she left this time, she wouldn't have another chance to marry him. But at that time, the Nguyen family's finances were in trouble. My parents desperately needed support from the Yu group. Because I was the one marrying into the Yu family in Claire Nguyen's place, both my parents and Claire assumed I would be easily controlled. They were convinced that once Ethan Yu gained power, Claire Nguyen could return to the Yu family. However, they were wrong. Madame Yu's scheme was a double play. She had never truly valued Claire Nguyen. The daughter-in-law she truly targeted was always me. At first, I didn't realize this, but it slowly dawned on me after Claire returned. Madame Yu needed someone like me, someone calm, who knew when to advance and when to retreat to support Ethan Yu. Simultaneously, she also wanted to hold the Nguyen family in her hands for easier control. Thus, she exploited Claire Nguyen, seized on the Nguyen family's weaknesses, and at the same time eliminated the threat to the Yu group. My parents were also involved in planning Ken Tu's murder, but since they weren't the masterminds, they received sentences of 8 years and 5 years imprisonment respectively. When I visited them in prison, they still blamed me for being an unfilial daughter. After scolding me, they then begged me to take care of Claire Nguyen. Reluctantly agreeing, I asked them to sign a power of attorney. This way, all future decisions regarding Claire Nguyen would belong to me. Unless she recovered, but recovery meant she would face criminal charges. After all, she was fully lucid when the crime was committed. When my mother was about to give further instructions, I blurted out something that almost made her faint. However she treated me back then, I will surely repay her tenfold. Rest assured, both of you, when you are released from prison, I will give you a pleasant surprise. I hung up the phone, ignoring my mother's screams. I didn't want to hear anything more. I had many things left to do. Ethan Yu was still waiting for me on the other end of the line for a meeting. Half a year had passed, and he seemed to have transformed into a completely different person. Perhaps it was his changed hairstyle, no longer as dashing as before, or perhaps the prison uniform couldn't elevate his noble appearance. In short, in his inmate clothes, he looked no different from a thug. His deep-set eyes held complex, unreadable emotions towards me. We sat opposite each other for a long time before he finally picked up the phone. "I've read the divorce papers, I won't sign them," I replied, shrugging indifferently. "It's fine, I'll let my lawyer handle it. According to proper procedure, we'll automatically be divorced anyway." Ethan Yu spoke up. "Regarding Ken Tu's death, I wasn't involved in that, I know." He nodded slightly, then continued, "Do you resent me?" I pondered for a moment, then answered him, "There's no resentment between us. I'm just completing what Ken Tu didn't get to do, helping him get justice. As for you and the others, you all sowed the wind and are reaping the whirlwind. No one else can be blamed. Ethan Yu, don't send anyone to bother me again after this. I won't visit you again either. Your Yu family owes Ken to a debt that can never be repaid in a lifetime. I don't hate you, but I have no intention of forgiving you either." Because of all of you, I lost the motivation to continue living. As I was about to leave, Ethan Yu suddenly asked, "Maya, if not for Ken Tu's death, if not for everything that happened with the Yu family, would you have divorced me?" I looked at him and smiled. "Ethan Yu, don't think that just because you show a little affection, I'll be moved and find a way to get you out of here. The 3 years of my marriage to you were the most difficult, but also my most successful 3 years. Because I avenged Ken Tu. However, you must remember one thing. If Ken Tu were alive, I would never have married you." Seeing through his innermost thoughts, Ethan Yu's face revealed a hint of regret. But as someone meticulously cultivated by the Yu family to inherit its legacy, he didn't completely lose his composure. It had been a busy day. Leaving the prison, I went to visit Claire Nguyen again. The mental hospital called to report that her condition had been very poor recently. I suspected she might be faking it, but perhaps long-term confinement had truly driven her mad. Indeed, when I met her, she was holding a stick she'd found somewhere, drawing eyebrows. Then she smeared something on her lips. On closer inspection, it looked like someone's toothbrush. "Hello, Miss Nguyen. We're very fortunate to have you here. Recently, Claire has been screaming frequently at night. Although we've tried many treatment methods, we haven't seen any results." I handed the check I had prepared to the hospital director. "Thank you very much. I intend to take my sister abroad for treatment. Overseas, there's a type of partial brain lobotomy that is said to be very effective in treating patients with mental issues. They say that many patients no longer scream after the surgery. This brings immense relief to their families." Ah,